Everybody, and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Before we get into today's show, please do me a small favour. Make sure to drop a like on today's episode. Let's try and see 500 on this show. And if this is your first time watching, don't forget to subscribe as well. We're only 2 subscribers away from 41,100. So please go and do that if you haven't already. Right. I want to know your score predictions for Manchester United's Europa League fixture tonight. 8 p.m. kickoff against Real Sociedad. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What's the score going to be? We'll start the show off there because there is some injury news. Mason Mount is back, believe it or not. And Manuel Ugarte is also back, which is positive. But Lenny Yoro is out. And Harry Maguire is also out. So Maguire and Yoro out. Mainu and Mason Mount is back, which is good. I mean, I know Mason Mount's been a complete failure since he's come here, but we desperately need some more creative options in our attack. And whatever you think of Mason Mount, he is a good footballer. He just has really bad injury problems, doesn't he? So hopefully he can stay fit. Hopefully we can see the Mason Mount that helped Chelsea win the Champions League. What was that, 3-4 years ago? And hopefully this is all just a horrible nightmare and we finally get some value out of a player we paid, 50-60 million pounds for, which still just baffles me why we thought that was a good deal, but we are where we are. In relation to score predictions, obviously the first leg was 1-1. I think we deserved to beat Real Sociedad in the first leg. I don't think they deserved to win. I think they got a lucky penalty. And, I think we'd all agree that we deserved to beat them. You know, we had plenty of opportunities. They got that dodgy penalty, and now it's all to play for at Old Trafford tonight. I think we're going to win this one, to be honest. I don't want to say I feel confident, but I saw enough from Manchester United against Real Sociedad in the away leg to make me think that we should be okay. Obviously, anything can happen in a 90-minute game of football. You might get an early red card. There might be another dodgy penalty. So I'm not going to get too ahead of myself, obviously. But I'm going to go 2-0 Manchester United, which I think is... Yeah, I think that's a reasonable score. 2-0 Manchester United. But obviously, let me know yours in the comment section below. What's your score prediction? You can even let me know who the scorers will be. I'd be very interested to see everyone's thoughts. So, yeah, that's the latest on that game. We will most likely be live afterwards. I'm not 100% yet. Might be busy, but yeah, we'll see. Anyway, let's move on from that. Let's jump into some transfer-related news because we have lots and lots to get into on the show this morning. And we're going to start off by talking about Jadon Sancho because there are reports coming out this morning suggesting that Jadon Sancho might end up back at Manchester United this summer. Now, the reason for this is quite strange. So obviously there's this obligation to buy at the end of the season for, I believe it's about 25 million. But various different people are reporting this morning that Chelsea may decide not to go through with their obligation to buy Jadon Sancho this summer. It says if they pull out of the deal, they would have to pay a significant penalty. Now, you're probably thinking, why would they not sign him if they have to pay money to not sign him? Does that make sense? So just to clarify the situation, Manchester United have an obligation to buy with Chelsea. Let me just double check what the fee is. It's between 22 and 25 million, depending on Chelsea's position in the table. So let's just say 22, right? But apparently Chelsea haven't agreed personal terms with Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho at Manchester United, as we all know, is on absolutely ridiculous wages. He's on 250 grand a week, okay? So the logic behind this is, because at first when I read this story, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would they pay money to not sign him? But the general gist of it is he earns 13 million currently a season at Manchester United. He's obviously not going to accept less than that if he goes to Chelsea, probably, right? Most players get 5-year contracts. So if Chelsea have to pay him the same wages that he's on at Manchester United, which I imagine is what he'll ask for, that would be £65 million in wages over 5 years. And then you add the transfer fee of 22 million. That takes that total deal to £87 million. That would include the fee that they pay Manchester United, plus also the wages they have to pay Sancho over a 5-year period. So 87 million. So effectively what Chelsea are now deciding is, do we want to pay £87 million to sign Jadon Sancho over a 5-year deal? Or would we rather give Manchester United, say, 10 million now as a penalty and send him back? Because if you look at the two options there, you either give Sancho 87 total, including the salary and the transfer fee, or you say, we don't want him, it hasn't worked, have him back, and we'll give you the penalty, which is, I think, around £10 million. So that's how he might end up back at Manchester United. If this penalty is about 10 million, which is what supposedly is being reported this morning, we still then have to try and find a buyer for him, which could be a problem. And the other thing which kind of frightens me about this situation is Sancho will only have, I believe, 1 year left on his deal. So if he came back to Manchester United now, it'd be hard for us to sell him, not only because of his massive wages, but also because of the fact that his contract's up next summer. And he might just say, you know what, I'm just going to run down my deal. And then we've just completely screwed ourselves over. So I've never seen something like this happen before, where an obligation to buy is kind of broken. But let's have a look if I can find any more information on this. So yeah, it says that they'd have to pay a major penalty. People are still kind of speculating on the figure. I mean, some people are saying 10 million, some people are saying more. But either way, I mean, it's not great for us, is it? Because think of it like this, right? Say Chelsea have to give us 10 million and Jadon Sancho comes back. We have to pay him 13 million a season in wages. What if he comes back and says, I'm not leaving, I'm going to leave for free next summer? We've just massively lost out there. We're still paying half of his wages at the moment as well. So it's a pretty awkward situation, this. Priam says Sancho won't return and Amorim won't take him. It's not up to Amorim, mate. If Chelsea say they don't want him, which they apparently can do, and pay a penalty, then he'll come back to Manchester United. The point I'm making is, I'm not saying that he wants to come back himself. I'm not saying that Ruben Amorim wants him back. I'm saying that Chelsea are so unconvinced by what they've seen from him so far that they're willing to pay Manchester United a penalty in order to take him back. That's what I'm saying. So it doesn't matter what Sancho wants. It doesn't matter what Ruben Amorim wants, because if Chelsea say we don't want to buy him, here's 10 million, we're not signing him, then he's our problem again. That's the point. Daniel says, do you think Dorgu will play tonight? Yeah, I think he probably will. He's obviously not banned, is he, in Europe? It's only in the Premier League that he's banned. So I imagine he probably will, yeah. But yeah, it's a real mess. Obviously, this is something to worry about for the summer. It's not something we need to really work out now. But, I mean, it's fair to say that Jadon Sancho at Chelsea hasn't really been a success, I don't think. I know when he first signed, a couple of Chelsea fans I know were like, oh, we've done you dirty, what a signing. And now they've gone very quiet. He's got 2 goals this season in 22 games, which is, let's be honest, pretty poor, really, for an attacking player playing in a Chelsea side that do score lots of goals. And he has played a fair amount of times, 22 times in the Premier League, 2 goals. I mean, he does still seem to be playing for them, to be fair. I think, yeah. So they played Leicester on the weekend and he played 90 minutes. He played 68 minutes against Southampton, 14 minutes against Aston Villa. So he is getting game time. He's played pretty much all of their Europa Conference League games. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that one. But if he ends up back at Manchester United, that is going to be a massive kick in the teeth for us, I think. That he would then be our problem again. But there's not really much we can do about it. It's not really something that we can say, no, you have to keep him, because if they pay the penalty, he's our problem again. And the biggest kind of overriding issue is that obviously his contract is up in a year, so with Manchester United. So if we do bring him back, do we really think anybody's going to buy Jadon Sancho on 250 grand a week when he only has a year left on his contract? I would say probably not. So it's a sticky situation, but let me know your thoughts on this one. Maybe you think Jadon Sancho has a place in the Manchester United team. I mean, he probably would at the moment, wouldn't he? But I personally don't want Jadon Sancho back at Manchester United. I just think, I think the story is done. You know, we've been through enough with Sancho. It's clearly not worked. He went on loan to Dortmund. He's gone on loan to Chelsea. We just need rid of him. And he's another player where we're paying ridiculous amounts of money. And we're even paying half of his wages now, apparently, which is mental. I mean, if you look at his wages, if you look at the Chelsea wage bill, right, this is why I'm concerned about it. So, Chelsea's current highest earner is Reece James on 250k a week. So, yeah, Sancho would be the highest earner, joint highest earner. You got people like Enzo Fernandez on 180k a week. At the moment, apparently Chelsea are only paying him 100 and Manchester United are paying him 150. So you can kind of see the level of what Chelsea would expect to pay him. Obviously, there is the potential that Chelsea negotiate with Jadon Sancho and, you know, they agree to like a lesser wages, but yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult one. Obviously, I'll keep you updated on this as and when we get more news. But at the moment, it's not looking particularly good in the Jadon Sancho situation. It's looking like it will become a problem. Obviously, one for the summer, not for now. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. What else have we got? Next story is about an Argentinian player that we're apparently signing. So let's talk about that. We have spoke about this guy on the show before. Everyone who's just joined the video, by the way, make sure you drop a like. We've got over 200 people live watching, so let's try and see at least 200 likes by the end of this video. At least. So in relation to this Argentinian player, I know people are like, oh, the transfer window's not open yet and all the rest of it. But remember, deals are being worked on now. That is something that you have to consider. Like, I know the transfer window isn't for... 2 months, 3 months? But they do have to do all the preparation. So that's why we get all these stories kind of trickling out in advance, you know, of a deal happening. So, all right, where are we? Here we go. So this is coming out from multiple different people this morning that Manchester United are in pole position to sign 18-year-old centre-back Juan Jimenez. 18 years of age, Argentinian, currently plays his football for Rosario. Now, the interesting thing with this guy is his contract expires in December, which is quite weird. I think it's because the Argentinian season starts at a different time, isn't it? But yeah, it looks like he's one for the future, really. He's not one for now. He's been capped at every level of international. He hasn't made his first team debut yet for Argentina, but he looks decent. I've watched a couple of clips on him and stuff. He's a right-footed centre-back. Also can play as a central defensive midfielder. Definitely one to keep an eye on. There's lots and lots of people suggesting that Manchester United are working on a deal. It'll probably be something similar to the Diego Leon signing we made, the Paraguayan player. Somebody for the future. Somebody who isn't probably going to immediately walk into the first team, but I think would be like a, like a rotational player, which is good. So yeah, we'll see as and when this one happens, but it looks like we will be signing another player from South America, which is exciting because I know lots of people in this fan base have been crying out for us to step up our Argentinian and South American scouting because we don't bring in players from there. You know, we missed out on Julian Alvarez. We've missed out on many, many players. You know, when you think of the players that have come out of Brazil and Argentina and all the rest of it, we've never really signed any of them, have we? So yeah, this is our kind of way of getting into that market. Somebody says, what if Jadon Sancho comes back and fits one of the number 10 roles? I mean, he probably would at the moment, realistically. But the problem is, like, that his contract's going to run out. I don't know if Man United have an option to extend it. That's something to consider. I don't know whether they would, though. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? That Sancho might end up back at United. And we've paid literally 150 grand a week for him to play for Chelsea. And then at the end of the season, he's still our player again. I thought that deal was done and dusted, you know. I thought that regardless of what happened, Jadon Sancho would not be our problem anymore. But it looks like he is going to be our problem again, which is, it's annoying, isn't it? Okay, let's move on from that though. Let's talk about, see what else we got. Let's see what people are saying in the chat this morning. Lots of people are saying that Sancho needs to leave. Yeah. Malp says, I'm looking forward to seeing the lion tamers, the trapeze artists, and the clowns at the new stadium. Obviously implying that it looks a bit like a circus. Yeah, I mean, the reaction to the new stadium has been pretty mixed, hasn't it? There's a lot of people very upset about it. There's some people who are happy about the redevelopment of the local area, which I can understand because like there is nothing there at the moment. But the actual stadium design itself, it does stand out, to be fair, but it's whether it stands out for the right reasons. Like, I don't think it's iconic. I think it's quite eye-catching. Some people will like that. Some people won't like that. You know, it's a quite strange-looking stadium. Is that a fair way of describing it? But it is eye-catching. And Jim Ratcliffe did say in his interview that he wants something like the Eiffel Tower, you know, like a landmark where people go and visit it. That's kind of what he was implying, isn't it? So the design's clearly been made to, you know, like stand out, I think. So, yeah. Fred says, do you think the same will end up happening with Marcus Rashford? Maybe. I mean, the thing with Marcus Rashford is the deal with Aston Villa isn't an obligation to buy, is it? It's an option to buy. So, I mean, if I was Marcus Rashford, I would definitely stay at Aston Villa. I don't really know what he thinks he's going to get. The likelihood is, though, Marcus Rashford will come back to Manchester United. He'll go on the pre-season tour and we'll probably sell him on deadline day. I imagine. He's obviously hoping that like a bigger team's going to come in, you know, like a Bayern Munich or a Barcelona But the situation is a little bit different with Rashford because we do have 3 years left on his current contract. So I don't think there's that much of a worry around him. Like, we do still hold some of the cards close to our chest. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Rashford. Oh, tired today. CBK says Rashford obviously wants the Barcelona move. Yeah, I just don't see how that will happen, though, because Barcelona is skin. Maybe there's a player at Barca that we want. I don't know. It would have to be some sort of, like, clever deal, wouldn't it, where we're taking players from them and they're taking players from us. Nigel says the stadium is 5 years away. I'm not even thinking about it. United need to get their act together on the field. Yeah, fair. I agree. I mean, it will obviously be exciting once it happens, you know, to go to a new stadium and all the new infrastructure and all the rest of it, but obviously there's way more pressing matters at the moment than that, realistically, isn't it? So, yeah. Right, I'm going to wrap the video up here. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you all have an amazing day. Hopefully we beat Real Sociedad tonight because I cannot... Yeah, I mean, if we don't win, it's just going to... The season's over, innit? We may as well just stop watching. But yeah, have a great day, everybody. Don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe before you leave. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all later. Bye-bye.